Hello and welcome to another episode of From the Green Room. I'm Brian Zellmer, Director of KU Presents at Kutztown University in Kutztown, Pennsylvania. We're doing this series of shows live from our green room in exchange for having live performances with an in-person audience. And so we're hoping you're enjoying these episodes, bringing different performing artists to your home or wherever you're watching these, and you're welcome to be part of this conversation. Just simply put your comments or questions into the comments section, whether you're watching on Facebook or YouTube, and we'll try to get to them as we go through the program. Before we get to our very special guests today, we do want to make sure, in case you missed our big announcement last week, that we are returning to some live shows of sorts, but they're going to be outside behind our building at Schaefer Auditorium. And for the last 3 Fridays in April, we'll be able to have a socially distanced audience, as well as people can tune in from home. We'll have a live stream for each of these performances. We are asking, even though it's free and open to the public, we're asking for tickets, just so we can have a way to send you the link for the live stream, as well as make sure that we stay within our capacity limits out at the lawn. So I just have a quick video to show you in case you did miss last week, so you can learn more about the lineup. KU Presents is excited to announce the return to live, in-person performances with a series titled Arts Alive. This series includes 4 performances over the course of the last 3 Fridays in April. You can attend these outdoor performances in person or virtually from anywhere via the live stream. While this series is free and open to the public, tickets will be required to maintain capacity limits for in-person and to obtain the access link for joining digitally. We kick things off on Friday, April 16th with the Irish and Celtic music of Poor Man's Gambit. Then, on Friday, April 23rd, we explore iconic rock and pop songs from the 60s and 70s as they are reimagined through jazz with the group Living Standards. And on Friday, April 30th, we present a double feature, starting the evening with the Latin rhythms of De Tierra Caliente. And we close the evening and our short series with a contemporary ballet performance by Sharp Dance Company. The performances begin at 6 p.m. each week. Get your tickets now or learn more by going to kupresents.org. That's kupresents.org. And we'll see you at Schaefer. So excited to be bringing that program to you, and we can't wait to see you out on the lawn, or again, if you're tuning in virtually. All right, let's get to today's exciting program. We've got 5 graduating students in our music program here at Kutztown University joining us. The way this is going to work is I'm going to bring up one at a time just to quickly kind of get a little bit of their background, and then we'll bring them all together and ask them a bunch of questions. So first, I'm going to bring up Emeli Sosa. She's a commercial music major, vocalist and trombone. She's been in Jazz 1 Ensemble, Rock 1 Band, the Wind Ensemble at Kutztown University, and she's also a member of a band created by the KU alumni called The Cliffs. Here's a little video taste of Emeli. Emeli, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Good, that was fantastic. How long have you been involved with the Cliffs?
So I've been involved with the Cliffs ever since June of 2020. So I've just been, first, since with COVID and stuff like that, we haven't been performing that much. So I was very new to the band at that point, and I'm still trying to catch up a little bit, but that's when I started to actually perform with them and stuff.
Great. Well, welcome to the program. We're happy to have you on.
Thank you.
I want to go through, I'm going to ask you all the same thing real quick. Where did you grow up and go to high school? And how did you discover Kutztown University? If you could just maybe give us those 2 answers, and then we'll...
All right, so I actually grew up in Harrisburg. I was born and raised there. I'm 21, if anyone wanted to know, but I was born and raised there. And I went to Central Dauphin East High School. And the way that I found out about Kutztown and like wanted to go was that the Jazz One came to my high school to do like a master class in performance, and that's where I got to meet some of the KU now they're alumni, but some of the KU students at the time. And then they actually scheduled a whole day with me where I got to shadow some of the students, and that's where I like really fell in love with Kutztown.
That's awesome. I love it. I love it. So when did you know you wanted to major in music? Was it back in high school, or did something happen that changed? Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, well, first I really wanted to be a doctor, but I'm not really good at math or science. And so the second thing that I like decided was music, because I've always been a part of music. I actually started playing the violin. That was my first instrument, and I started playing that because my older sister did. And so that's where I kind of started getting a love for it. And then in high school, there was just like this one class where our professor or our teacher like played a jazz chart for us, and that's where I realized like that's what I want to do. Like that's exactly who I want to be. So, yeah.
Very cool. Very cool. All right, we're going to come back to you in a minute. I just want to give everyone a chance to be introduced to our audience, and then we'll bring you all in and ask questions. Next up, I'm going to bring in Ben Jones. He's a music education major, bassoon and trombone. He's been in the wind ensemble, symphonic band, orchestra, and chamber ensemble here at Kutztown University. Ben is also a KU Presents lead technician for live streaming concerts and production services in our Schaefer Auditorium. And here's a little video of Ben.
Her to the end of time. She's my sweet little thing now. She's my pride and joy.
Welcome, Ben. And it's worth noting that I love the lighting behind you. You are like Mr. Production on this campus right now. You're the go-to guy. I go to you a lot for help, and we really appreciate it. We're going to miss you a lot, not having you around next year. So, and you're coming from our production manager's office. Greg Kokolis used to be in that office. He retired in August. So shout out to Greg. Anyway, I just wanted to ask you the same questions real quick. Where did you grow up? Where did you go to high school? And how did you discover Kutztown and decide to come here?
Sure. So I was born in Lancaster, Pennsylvania. I went to Manheim Township High School. And I was looking at Kutztown as kind of a collection of music schools in the area. It was kind of Millersville, Kutztown, Westchester. It's what I hear a lot of high school music people talking about. And I just really felt at home at Kutztown. It just had a really nice family atmosphere. And I was really drawn to that.
Cool. And when did you know that music was what you wanted to major in?
Probably 6th grade. I told my parents I wanted to be a music teacher, and it never really changed. Just That's every opportunity cool. I got, learning a new instrument, conducting an ensemble, I've always loved that.
Great. We'll talk to you more in a minute, Ben, but we want to bring in Sam Wetzel, who's a commercial music major and percussionist. He's been in percussion ensembles, chamber ensemble, rock 3 band, symphonic band, and wind ensemble at Kutztown University. And he's also actively involved in 2 bands right now, one called The Blinds and one called Fowler and Folk. Here's a video about Sam. Sam, welcome. How's it going?
Hi, thanks for having me.
Great to have you. Would you mind just sharing same questions, where you grew up, went to high school, and what brought you to Kutztown?
Yeah, so I grew up in a really, really small town called Boiling Springs. I went to Boiling Springs High School. Our school mascot was a bubble. It's like super, super small. I got into music because drumline was sort of what all my friends were doing in middle school, and I followed it through to high school. I wasn't really planning to pursue music until like my junior year of high school, when I just sort of like it clicked, and I was like, this is kind of what I want to do forever. So that's how I got into it. And then I was actually planning to take a year off in between high school and college, but a buddy of mine who was also a drummer was auditioning at Kutztown, so I came along with him. And Dr. Chose was like, well, why don't you sit down and play something for me? And I played something, and then he took me over to Dr. Kumar's office, who's the percussion guy here, and he was kind of like, that was your audition, you're in if you want to come. So,
Awesome.
And yeah, that was it.
Cool. So you answered my third question already, so thank you. So we're going to get on to Kaiti Hershey, who's a music performance major and flute player. She's been in wind ensemble, symphonic band, orchestra, chamber players, and flute choir here at Kutztown. She's also an officer in the music fraternity for women on campus, Sigma Alpha Iota. I can't tell if it's an L or an I. Anyway, here's a video of Kaiti. Incredible. Great job, Kaiti. I have a special appreciation for flute majors. My sister was one too. So.
Oh, really? That's awesome.
So same question, and we'll get into it once we get through everybody. Where'd you grow up? What, your high school, and how you found Kutztown?
Sure. So I grew up in Coatesville, Pennsylvania. It's about an hour outside of Philly near Westchester University. I went to Bishop Shanahan High School, so I went to a private Catholic high school. We had an awesome music program. My band director was fantastic. I was drum major there, got to play flute all 4 years. I was actually really late to wanting to become a music major. I didn't think I was good enough, so I was scared. My parents and my family were all super encouraging. It wasn't like anyone was telling me not to do it. I just didn't have any self-confidence in music at the time. My grandparents were actually the ones my senior year, so fall of my senior year of high school, were like, just audition and be a music major. So I Googled music state schools in Pennsylvania, and Kutztown popped up as one, and I auditioned and loved the professor, Dr. Lowy at the time. Now we have a new flute professor, Jana Axelrod, who I absolutely love and owe a lot to. She's amazing. So
cool.
That's kind of how I got here. Yeah, right? Seriously.
Well, it's great. Thanks for answering my third question also. And we're going to now bring in our last student for this episode, Christina Baker. She's a commercial music major and trumpet player. She's been in Jazz 1 Ensemble, Rock 1 Band, Wind Ensemble, and KU Orchestra. In addition to being the commercial music in addition to being our commercial music intern, she's the one that runs the production for these programs, and she actually wrote the theme song that we have From the Green Room, in case her name sounded familiar. But she's also conducted several pit orchestras for the group ACT, the theater group on campus, and she's composed many songs, as I mentioned, including From the Green Room song. So here's a little video about Christina. Hey, Christina.
Hi, Brian. How are you?
Good. I kind of have you on the hot seat today, I'll admit, because I asked you I said I want to have you on the show, but you're also running everything in the background, so you're doing an amazing job. Way to go. So can you tell us all where you grew up and what high school you went to and what brought you to Kutztown?
Yeah, of course. So I think I'm the only New Jerseyan here. I'm representing New Jersey today. So I grew up in a smaller town in North Jersey. Went to Dover High School. And I didn't always want to be a music major necessarily. Growing up, I always thought that I'd be like a lawyer. But then in high school, I had a really great band director, Mr. Dan Vasquez. and he really influenced me in just, being in the marching band and pit orchestras and doing music all throughout high school influenced me and made me realize how much of an impact it can have on people. So I actually came into Kutztown as a music education major. And the reason I came to Kutztown is because there was an alum of Dover High School who came here, Matt Sachelli, and he was wearing all his Kutztown gear, the maroon and gold scarf and the sweatpants and everything, and he said, "You have to come see the marching band, you'll love it so much, you gotta come." So I was like, all right, I'll go visit this small school in Pennsylvania, never heard of it, but let me try it. And I came out, and there was a trumpet player sitting on the wall outside of the Sheridan Art Building. His name is Dustin Siano, and he would become one of my good friends here. And I saw him and I asked him some questions and said, what's Kutztown like since you're a trumpet player? And he said, you should get an audition with Kevin Chose, you should take a lesson with him and, talk to him. And the rest was history. I just really liked the vibe here, and I, knew that this was where I wanted to be.
Awesome. We love having you here. So let's bring everybody in, and I'll ask you all some questions now, and you guys can answer them however, whoever feels like it. If I want everybody to answer a certain question, I'll tell you that, but feel free to just jump in, okay? No raising hands or anything, just jump in. It's a conversation. Now, Sam and Katie both mentioned talking about the auditions, but for a music major, you do have to audition, correct? That is something that's mandatory. Can you guys just maybe one of you tell us what is the audition process like? How to, for a high school student that might be interested, what do they have to know? Silence.
I can talk a little bit about this one if you want.
Go for it.
Actually, a lot of us help out on audition days. I think that was one thing that drew me to Kutztown, was that when I came, the first faces that I saw were other flute players and other music majors holding the doors for you, saying hi to you, complimenting your outfit, just like small things like that. The hospitality and the kindness at Kutztown is always present in every day, but especially on audition days, because we want to make it as welcoming and as relaxing and inviting as possible. You basically come in, you sign in, you register. We have donuts and coffee, so that's always nice. We have all of our professors there that will introduce themselves as well as student workers. You'll go down, you get to warm up in our practice room, so you kind of get to see a little bit of our music building. And then you'll audition for, if you're a woodwind player, our woodwind professors, our brass professors if you're a brass player, and so on and so forth. So it's pretty easy. It's a fun day. So I like it.
So when does the cutthroat stuff start happening? When is the, that doesn't happen here, right? It's very, as you mentioned, it's very supportive. Do you guys all agree? Does everyone agree? Anyone want to add anything to the experience of auditioning?
Yeah, so when I actually didn't do an audition day. What happened was that I shadowed a student, and they scheduled a lesson that day, and so that day they had a lesson with Dr. New, because I actually came in as a trombone major first, and I auditioned for Dr. New, Dr. Neuenschwander, and that was how my experience was. I had a lesson with him. He told me things that I was good at and things that we needed to work on, and he was just more getting the vibe of the kind of student that I was, and also if I was able to learn fast, and that's kind of the process that I went, and I really liked that process because auditions can be a little nerve-wracking, and it was nice being able to sit down with the professor, have a conversation, go out to coffee, so I think that my experience was cool, and I hope that other people have an experience like that too.
That's cool to hear that there's more than one way to get in. So, anything else, or we'll move on to the next question? No?
I think just on the side of, things being cutthroat, sometimes you think of music school and you think everyone's going to be really competing with each other, or what's it going to be like, are people going to be fighting for solos and first chair? But I can honestly say that I've never had that experience here at Kutztown, and I know most people don't. It's a super, super, we're very much like a family and a community, and we all want to see each other and raise each other up rather than put each other down. So if you're looking for a music school where it's going to be a community and it's not going to be competitive and cutthroat, then this is the place.
That's incredible. And I know our students go on to amazing things, and maybe at some point we'll have some alumni on, and in the future, maybe you guys can come back and talk to me. What was the adjustment like, not just in the music program, but just coming to Kutztown as a student in general from, you all came right from high school. So how was that transition, coming here? did you also have an open and warm reception and guidance getting through, or be honest, was there a period of just finding how to do things? I mean, who wants to share? Sam, you look like you want to talk.
I think that going to college anywhere is a big transition, especially for a lot of people, who have just been through high school and they haven't moved around a lot. It's kind of, you're on your own. And so it is tough, but I think at Kutztown, it's a place where you have an environment that's really, really supportive. And I know for a fact that if I have any personal issues or anything like that, I can go to any one of the students or even the professors. Everyone is kind of just there to give you advice on things and help you out. So freshman year, I feel like for everyone, is a little weird and tough. But by sophomore year, I felt totally just in the zone,
Awesome. Anybody want to add to that?
Yeah, I would agree that college is a big transition for anyone. I think it's a lot of fun to change as a person. You meet a lot of different people that are not like you, and that turns you into a different kind of person and a better person. And I've definitely grown and become a better person here through music and through all the on-campus activities and other friends that I've met here. Yeah, it's just been a great experience.
Show of hands, who here has grown tremendously from 4 years ago? All of you. Okay, that's great. So you guys came at a very unusual time because you had a normal, quote unquote, education experience up until a year ago, and then you are now graduating during a pandemic. Can you guys just tell us what it's like? What was it like before the pandemic, and how strange is it now, but what are the good and bad things of this time? I'll call in one of you to go. Yeah, go ahead. I just saw Christina and Katie both want to talk, it looks like.
I can talk for a little bit. Yeah, it's definitely weird. It took a lot of adjusting. I think I can speak confidently for all of us that it was very hectic last semester and stressful, and nobody really knew what to do or how to accommodate for it. But I think for me personally, it was almost a little bit of a blessing in disguise. Just having the time to
describe that.
Yeah, having the time to work on the little things that I didn't get to work on before. I mean, now I had hours to practice a day, and there were some days where I didn't want to practice, and I think that's also important, that we all needed to take the time to better ourselves as people and as musicians. But the biggest thing that I learned is how much I love what I'm doing. And I think if we, the seniors, as we have pushed through this past year of not being able to make music like we're used to, and we still love it, then I know we're all going for the right thing. We're going on the right path. And I think that's what I kept reminding myself, how lucky I am to still love what I'm doing, even when it's not really what I'm used to doing, if that makes any sense.
Totally. And I just want to jump in. I want to hear what the rest of you have to say, but as a staff member, I come into the building and I just have to let the people at home know who aren't familiar with coming in through Schaefer. I can come in at 6 in the morning, or I could leave late after a show at 11 o'clock, and I will hear a student or more practicing somewhere in some nook or cranny of this building. They're very committed to their instruments, and it's just incredible. And you guys are very inspiring to people like me that just happen to be flies on the wall, and I love being in this building and hearing you guys all the time. But anyway, who else wants to add to that?
Yeah, well, thank you, Brian. That's really nice of you to say. But I also think that, in terms of being a blessing in disguise, I think that we've had some interesting performance opportunities that we might not have had before. I know in the rock ensembles, we used to perform down at the Kutztown pub, and we loved doing that. It was every other Tuesday, and it was super fun, and the pub environment, and it's crowded, but obviously in a crowded space like that, you can't do that anymore. So we actually started doing outdoor performances outside of Schaefer Auditorium, and it was always even more fun, being outside and being live and just getting community members who are just walking by, passing by, to stop and listen to the music. And it was produced by KU Presents, so you, Brian, would be doing the lighting, and Ben would be doing the live streams, and that also just speaks to the community aspect of it. Everyone's involved in everything, and it's so cool seeing all the same faces all the time. But anyway, opportunities like that where you have to find new and creative ways to perform are cool, as well as having these live streams, because now we have documentation of performances we might not have had before, like through the wind ensemble. We did a live stream concert a couple weekends ago, and we normally wouldn't have done a live stream, but now we get to document it, and we get to like always have on record these performances that we've done. So it's actually a cool way, even moving forward when things get back to being more normal. I think that we'll see a lot of these same things in practice in the future.
And to add on to that, we had Nico on as a guest a couple weeks ago, and he mentioned about the virtual streams being awesome because then his family that live down in South America can tune in and actually get a chance to see him perform at his university. And so your families get to do that too, and friends, and that maybe otherwise couldn't see the performance. So that's really cool. Sam, were you about to talk, or Emily?
Yeah, I was actually going to say, I have the same kind of situation going on. Most of my family lives in the Dominican Republic, and it's nice to have live streams because, like, they can't come up. They couldn't come up anyways, but even during, like, COVID, it's even, I would not advise them to. And I think it's really cool that they can see me because they've never seen me perform or anything like that. So, but one thing that I did want to add was that the only thing that's, like, kind of difficult about this whole situation was like the social aspect of everything, because like we're so used to like just hanging out all the time and, you know, being really, really close, and we are still really close, but in different ways. But it's hard, and I know everyone across the world is experiencing this, where it's really hard to you can't come together in person, and that is a really human, like a really important human thing, is like being together in the same place. So that was a little stressful and a little weird to adjust to, not being able to see my friends in front of my face, like, and hanging out, and you know what I mean. So that's something that was a little stressful, but I think we are now getting to a place where, like, yeah, I can FaceTime my friend and it's cool, and I still miss them, but I am okay with doing that. So yeah.
Definitely. We have a lot of great comments going on in the chat, and if you guys have any questions, you know, we've got a few minutes left, and so if you have a question for the students, be sure to put that in. And thank you for all the nice words you're saying about the students. Okay, I'm going to move on, and I just want to ask you guys. I mentioned how you guys all inspire me with your dedication and your hard work, and you know, and how amazing you guys all are. I'm curious, what inspires you, and what's been your biggest inspiration during your time here at Kutztown? Whoever wants to go first, I'll let that sink in for a minute.
I can go first. Well, one person that's always been inspiring to me is Christina, actually, because Christina's my roommate. We both have really busy schedules, but like seeing her, like she's always like smiling and stuff like that, and like even though if she doesn't want to get out of bed, like she goes and does it anyways, and she's been one of those really like inspiring people to me, at least. Also another like thing that's inspiring, obviously, is you know, listening to music is one of those things that's really inspiring to me, because the musicians that I listen to and that I idolize, that's who I want to be, or not who I want to be, but that's where I want to be. That's like my goal, is to be able to hang with them, or to be able to play with them, or make music like them. And so I think that that is a great way to motivate yourself, is just listening to music and having a goal of what to strive to. Nice.
Well said. Go ahead, Ben.
Yeah, I'm really motivated by people counting on me. In general, I'm not one to get up and do something just because I know it's good for me. But if somebody needs me to do something or is expecting me to do it, that's all the motivation I need. So, you know, I've been wanting to learn about live streaming and video production for a while now, but I never really had a reason to, a motivation to. And then, you know, everything goes online and, hey, Ben, you know audio stuff, right? So you know video stuff, do the live streams. And I'm like, all right, cool, I'll do the live streams. So that was a big motivation. You know, everyone's looking to me to be the person to know what's going on, so I'm going to go figure out what's going on.
it's great that I'm going to give you a little, I'm a father too, so I need to step in here with some advice. Just be careful, because there's a line where it gets to be too much and people are relying and taking advantage of you, and you don't want to wear yourself down and get taken advantage of. So, but you do an amazing job. You've been doing an amazing job. You've learned so much over I've seen the growth of the live streams where they started in the fall and where you got us to today. And Ben is the one that helped KU Presents upgrade its gear and really just kick the live streams to the next level. And so we're very appreciative and thankful for that, and can't wait to see what else happens from here. So they definitely will continue. Sam, Katie, and Christina, I want to hear what inspires you guys too. This is a question for everybody.
Yeah, if I could
go ahead, Sam.
So kind of bouncing off of what Ben said, I think the majority of the motivation that I get is just watching other students and kind of seeing where the bar is. And then also, because people are depending on me, like Ben said, that's a lot of the reason why sometimes students are in Schaefer until 2 a.m., 3 a.m. working on something. So we know we have ensemble the next day. And it's not like, oh, I don't want to do this. It's, I don't want to let my friends down, and there's the other side of it where you owe it to yourself to, be growing as a performer and stuff like that. But the majority, if we're talking about just motivation, it's, you just want to raise the bar a little bit for everybody,
Nice. We're down to Katie and Christina. Katie,
Okay.
go ahead.
I think for me, the biggest motivation is my professor, my flute professor, Janet Axelrod. She just came in this fall, almost halfway through the semester. We had no idea who she was or what she did, and she came in and was so kind and so gracious and pushed me harder than anything, but it's given me so much more tools to work with, things to do. I mean, I've gotten into grad school because of her. I'll say forever, because she's fantastic. So that motivates
Congrats.
me. Thank you. She motivates me so much to do better, and I want to be, like Emmy said, I want to be where she is. I want to do what she does and be just like her. So, yeah.
Nice. Christina, what's motivating you? What inspires you?
Yeah, I think right now, really just looking to the future is really motivating and inspiring, and thinking, who can I be? And looking back at 4 years ago coming into Kutztown and who I was then, and all of the growth that I've made and all of the growth that I've seen all my friends make too, and just seeing how possible it is to do anything and to change it up, because I came in as a music education major and I'm still passionate about education, and music educators are so valuable. But, 1 year I wanted to be a conductor, and another year I wanted to be a professional trumpet player, and now I want to be a professional songwriter. And it's always switching up, and, maybe I'll pick up the harmonica next year and want to do that professionally. I don't know.
Who says you can't do it all, right?
Exactly. So I
jobs.
really, exactly. There's all sorts of things out there. So what's inspiring to me is just thinking about like all of those things that are out there in the music field, and like trying to put myself in all those places and just seeing what I like and seeing how I can be a service to my friends. I want to be good at the trumpet so that if Emeli Sosa starts a band one day and she needs a trumpet player, she can call me. Or if Ben Jones is conducting a symphony orchestra, I know how to play in that style. Like, I want to be of service to all of the people who have done so much to me here, so much for me here. So, yeah.
Love it. All right. So this is a question. Every week in our program, we have a question from the commercial music department or program submitted by a student. This week, we're flipping the script, and we had a professor, actually two professors, submit questions for you guys. So first, we have Dr. Jose says, here's his question for all of you, whoever wants to answer it. College goes by quickly. What advice would you have for freshmen and sophomores? In other words, is there something you would have done differently, knowing what you know now? Maybe real quickly, if we can have short answers from each of you. I'm curious what you guys would each say. Do you need me to repeat that, or did you get it?
I can go first. I would say just go to class. Just like go to class. Let's just go to class. Because first of all, you're paying for every single class. You're like losing $100, I think, for every class. So just go. And you also need to pass and get A's. Because if you get an A, then you can go to grad school. So that's my advice. Just go to class.
Go to class. That's a great advice. Who's gonna add to that? What other advice do you have for freshmen and sophomores?
Practice very diligently, and practice more and more and more and just don't stop practicing.
Good advice. Good advice.
I would say just get involved. Find a group of friends by doing something you all enjoy. You're going to have a lot better time if you have a lot of friends in college.
And there's a lot of choices here at KU, too. A lot of different organizations and groups and clubs, and very good advice. Christine and Sam, we're up to you guys.
I would definitely say one of the most important things would be figuring out what your personal goal is. And if that means that you have to sort of separate from the normal path that everyone else in your major is taking, definitely do it. It seems like there's like a formula for what, if you're a commercial music major, you should be doing X, Y, and Z. There's no formula. And if you want to be successful, you should be doing as many things as you can, saying yes to everything, and then picking that one thing that you really want to do and just going at it,
Great advice. Great advice. Christina.
Yeah, Sam, I think that was perfect. I was going to say, try everything. If the bagpipe club comes up to you and says, you want to play the bagpipes? Play the bagpipes. Don't think that something isn't worth your time, because everything is worth your time. And even if you're doing things that aren't music related, they're going to help you grow as a person and then therefore as a musician. So try everything.
Great. All right, from Dr. Walker, his question is, in terms of your future and career in the music industry, what is it that you can't wait to be part of specifically, or that you hope to be part of? And I'm going to tag on to that. Did your plans change for these future plans change because of the pandemic? Did that alter any of your hopes or dreams or whatever your next steps will be? I want to hear from all of you also, and then we're going to get wrapping it up in a minute. So why don't we go in reverse order? Christina, you go first this time.
Recently, I've been writing a lot of music. I actually have an EP coming out sometime this summer. It's called Kiss Your Friends, and it's a super collaborative project where I wrote the music and I have friends singing on it and playing on it. So Sam's playing the drums, Emmy's singing one of the songs, and it's people from all over the place doing all sorts of things, which I'm really excited about. So that's sort of where I'm looking to the future. I want to try my hand at writing songs and composing, and I think that changed with the pandemic. Being in lockdown, I found myself just writing a lot more than I normally would. I found that I wasn't going to the trumpet as much, I think because I was feeling a little bit secluded, and the trumpet's very social for me as far as ensembles. So I just, I started playing the guitar over lockdown and started writing songs for that. So yeah, I would say that sort of changed my goals.
Great. So I think we're back to Sam. Is that right?
Yeah. So my goal would be to end up teaching in some capacity. And then end goal would be to just keep being a student kind of forever. Even if I'm not going to school, I feel like there's so much to learn about music. There's no stopping point. It's not like, oh, you graduate college and now you know everything. All of my favorite professors say that they're still students. And so I would love to just keep learning every day.
Great. I can't remember if we're up to Katie or Ben, but one of you go.
Yeah, I'd say my future aspirations have changed slightly in my time here. I've always known I wanted to be a teacher. I just kind of chose music. And now I'm kind of choosing music technology, maybe? I don't know. I just like teaching. I'll find something to teach. It'll probably be music. It'll probably be technology.
Great. Katie.
I cannot wait to play. My goal is to play in a major symphony orchestra somewhere in the world. That's always been my goal as a musician. Surprisingly, it hasn't changed very much due to the pandemic, even though I know a lot of professional orchestral musicians. I mean, there's still a lot of work, so it is risky, some might say, but then ultimately I want to get my doctorate and be a college professor for flute as well. So
Awesome.
I'm excited for that.
Great. Emeli, I'm sorry.
That's okay. So my goal is very specific, but my goal is to be able to sing at the Village Vanguard, which is one of the biggest jazz clubs ever. So I would love to be able to perform there. And it's so specific because I want to be a jazz vocalist. I don't know how I'm going to get there yet, but again, my time here, a lot of things have changed. I've picked up a lot of instruments. I've done a lot of things, and voice is just one of those things that I felt that I can't get away from. So eventually, I would like to be in the jazz world, but don't exactly know how I'm going to get there. And I think that is a beautiful thing because that gives me a lot of options. So, yeah.
Wonderful. I know that each of you are going to achieve your dreams no matter where it is, even if you don't even know what that dream is yet, because just the little bit I know about each of you, I know how driven you are, how dedicated you are, and how talented you are. So it'll happen for sure. And we can't wait to see and watch where you go. We're way over in time because we typically do a half hour, but it's been really great talking to you guys. So I'm going to go round robin one more time, and then we're going to finish up with a song that Christina wrote that was performed by Christina. Who was it performed by? The rock band?
Rock Ensemble 1 here at Kutztown.
Rock Ensemble 1, and it's called Yellow. So we'll end with that. But before we go, I'm curious if you could just share maybe what your fondest memory will be of Kutztown and what you're probably never going to forget. What's the memory that you're going to cherish and take with you from your time here in the Kutztown University halls? So whoever wants to go first, I won't pick on you. I know you might need to think about that for a minute.
I can go.
All right, great. Thanks, Emeli.
I actually have I guess it's every year, but my fondest memories are going to be the concerts that I've done, especially with the jazz band and with Rock One. I remember every single concert and how I felt and how I knew that was exactly what I wanted to do. So I don't know. I think those are my memories that I think I'm going to remember.
Very cool. Very cool. Who wants to go next? Go ahead, Christina.
I also have, one just happened today. We were in a rehearsal. It was during Rock Ensemble, and Rock 2 came to visit us today, and they performed for us. They rehearsed for us. And Rock 1 was all sitting on the floor in the middle of the room. We were just sort of looking around and listening, and we were throwing animal crackers at each other. And we were throwing them at Dr. Chose, and it was just the funniest thing. And we were all laughing, and Rock 2 was performing, and we were throwing things, and I closed my eyes, and I just thought, wow, I'm gonna miss it here. And I thought that I just wanted to stay in that moment and remember that.
Great.
I'm going to miss going to Uptown to get coffee and seeing every single music major and professor there. But I love it. I love that little coffee shop.
Great. Sam or Ben? Go ahead, Sam.
There's this one very specific moment that I remember just being stopping and being this isn't gonna last forever. So just kind of being in the moment. And Christina might actually remember this. It was last year, right before the pandemic, we were doing the musical, which was Mamma Mia. And we had been in rehearsal before Mamma Mia for 2 or 3 hours. We did symphonic band and then wind ensemble. And then we went straight to Tech Week for Mamma Mia. And that was 4 or 5 hours of rehearsal on top of the 2 or 3 we had already done. And by the end, we were just losing our minds. It was so fun. And we were playing ABBA tunes, and I remember they were practicing their bows, and we were playing Dancing Queen, and everyone in the pit was just losing it, and it was just really fun.
I was gonna say that before one of the rehearsal, or before one of our first performances, we changed the words of Dancing Queen to be Dancing Bees. So we were just singing Dancing Bees in the wings before we went out to perform. It's those little things, they just stick with you.
Ben, you're up.
Oh man, I don't know if I can come up with something specific. I know I'm already missing my first and second year when everyone lived on campus and was right down the hall. Sam lived 2 doors down from me freshman year, and it was a whole wing of guys who were in music, and you go to the dining hall and you sit with a table of 10 people. That just doesn't happen after college that often, and I'm already missing that.
Well, thank you guys, and we're going to miss you all greatly. We've got a few more months to go, and we'll get to see you guys all in live streams coming up, and you each have your senior recitals coming up. I believe none of you have had yours yet, right? Do you all have dates? Let's quickly just tell. Yours is this weekend. Sam is performing Saturday, and that will be live streamed. And who else? Go ahead, Emily.
My senior recital is April 27th at 7:30. It's going to be outside behind Schaefer.
Okay.
If you come
Go
to
ahead.
Emmy's, you can hear me play jazz flute.
Nice,
It's going to be an
nice.
experience. Mine is mine's not April, May 1st at 3
Okay.
p.m. in the Georgian Room.
And I think we're live streaming yours as well. Emily, we didn't get a request for yours. Did you want to live stream yours?
Yes, I actually did want to live stream it. I can request that. Thank you for letting me know.
Send me an email. Okay, Christina and Ben, when's yours?
I'm actually unfortunately not having a senior recital, but I
okay.
do have a sort of project, the EP that'll be coming out this summer. That's my sort of culmination project. Yeah.
Okay.
I had my senior recital last semester when nothing was going on. It was a lot of fun. Everything is very, I don't know, digital.
Was it recorded?
It was recorded and green screened and all sorts of fun stuff.
Okay.
You have to watch it. It's amazing.
We'll have to watch that. All right. Well, thank you all. As I mentioned, we're gonna cut to Christina's song "Yellow," and performed by the KU's rock band, and then I'll come back on and say some words. But thank you all for joining us today. We're gonna say goodbye to all of you now, and we'll see you around. Good luck on everything. All right. So here's "Yellow."
If all is yellow in your world, then let me be your yellow girl. I can be your ray of sunshine. I can let your light wash out mine. Put me on a wall, put me up in a frame. I'll forget who I am, call me by your name. I'll never even look at another fellow if you say that you will call me yellow. Does everything you do come naturally? The yellow sunlight washes over me, and I can't help but roll the dice. Even if you wanna keep a flashlight in your back pocket, that would be nice. Put me in a vase, pop me up in your room. I can cheer you on from my very own tune. I promise to shine a little brighter if you say that you will hold me tighter. Put me on a wall, put me up in a frame. I forget who I am, call me by your name. I'll never even look at another fellow. You say that you will call me yellow. Now I'm not known for being subtle. Sure, it's got me in trouble, but when I'm with you, my knees buckle. And at the end of the day, I just need you. You'll always and always and always and always put me in a vase, prop me up in your room. I can cheer you on from my very own tune. I promise to shine a little brighter if you say that you will hold me tighter. Put me on a wall, put me up in a frame. I forget who I am, call me by your name. I'll never even look at another fellow if you say that you will call me yellow. Call me yellow, baby. Call me yellow, baby. Call me yellow, yellow, yeah. Call me yellow, baby. And when all is said and done, so much for blacking out the sun.
Thank you all for sticking with us, and I want to thank our special guests today, Emeli Sosa, Ben Jones, Sam Wetzel, Kaiti Hershey, and Christina Baker. You can learn more about the KU Department of Music by going to kutztown.edu/music. That's kutztown.edu/music. There it is on the screen. If you're enjoying these episodes, please like, share, and subscribe, and all of those things. Please join us every week at 4 p.m. for our live episodes on Wednesdays. And next week, we've got our first ever guest host joining us, John Ernesto from the Berks Jazz Festival, will be joining me in the interviewing seat. And we'll be talking about this year's festival, which is a little different, as well as speaking with the Jazz Supergroup, who will be performing in our Arts Alive series, as we talked about at the beginning of this program. They're going to be performing on April 23rd. That's Living Standards, so don't miss that. In the meantime, I'm Brian Zelmer. I hope you all have a great day. I look forward to saying see you at Schaefer, which we're saying in April, for April. And until then, we'll see you every week here from the Green Room.